All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Kilobots 40, presented to you here by the Saskatchewan Combat Robotics Club at the Saskatchewan Entertainment Expo. We're going to get started with our first round of fights right away here. We're just going to get the first ones loaded up. There is the 150-gram fairy weights, which are tiny little guys, but nonetheless still quite demolishing. We also have the Antweights, which are the 1-pound ones. We do a lot of those robots. They're our most popular. But first up, we're going to start off with 1-pound Antweights in the veterans class. And we're going to be going with Jonathan over here in the red corner with the Snip. That's got that nice big vertical spinning disc on top. And he's going to be going up against Brian's steamed hams over in the blue corner. That one is a small but very powerful drum spinner. Both of these are vertical spinning weapons, which tend to be some of the more effective weapons in this weight class. And the Snip over here, driven by Jonathan, he's coming to us all the way from Indiana today. And he's been absolutely destroying things over in Ontario recently. So we'll see how well he can do against the guys from Saskatchewan here.
So whenever you're ready, you just press it. And when they're both ready, the red light. Okay.
All right, our drivers are ready. The judges are ready. We are going to start in 3, 2, 1, fight! All right, even at 1 pound, you can already hear these things spinning up. The steam hams goes into the corner of the Snip over there, pushing towards the blue push out and over the edge. A quick win for the Snip, or for the steam hams. Congratulations, Brian. Well done. My goodness. Sometimes it can be over just that quickly, as Brian managed to get around the side of the Snip and taking the spinning weapon there on steamed hams and just slowly but surely pushing him towards that blue side push out.
Just push your way through.
All right, we'll give them a chance here to unload everything now that the fight is over. And the next Antweight fight coming up here will be Andrew's Absurdity in the red corner versus Albert with Tiger Shark, I can say it one of these times, over in the blue corner. All right, so in the red corner here, Andrew's got Absurdity. All of his robots here have the TI ending on them. And that's because he likes to use titanium for everything. Now, we do generally like to use titanium as a material. It's very strong for its weight, and as a result, it makes really good armor, and sometimes even a good weapon, but it's often very hard to work with. It's a very hard material, rather expensive, and so being able to work it is a bit challenging, but Andrew's very good at it, and he has basically everything made out of titanium, which means it's going to be very expensive when he has to repair it.
We don't talk about that.
On the other hand, Albert over in the blue corner, a Tiger Shark, he 3D prints everything, which means it's going to be really easy to replace all of it, and he's probably going to have to. He's got canted wheels on the side there. You can see those big, huge foam wheels, so it should be a very sturdy robot. And on the front, he's got a horizontal spinning blade, kind of an undercutter. It's very low to the ground. Even low, well, actually, it might be about the same height as Absurdity's here. Absurdity is actually sitting a little bit higher than it would actually be driving. He's got it sitting on a plate just to make sure it doesn't get away on him while he gets everything set up. So both of these guys have low-mounted horizontal spinning bars, which means they're both probably going to be going for each other's exposed wheels. And I know for sure Tiger Shark is fast. I think Absurdity is quite fast as well. So it'll definitely, I think, largely come down to a driving match with these two. Should be very fast-paced, no doubt, and one or the other is likely going to explode when those weapons collide. All right, the drivers are ready, judges are ready. All right, we're starting. 3, 2, 1, fight. Both of them spinning up nice and fast there. Absurdity with that flat bar. Tiger Shark with the exposed wheels. Chunk of the foam coming out already as Absurdity goes pinging over top of the big blue saw hazard there. Back on its wheels again and ready to go. Taking a big chunk out of the plastic body on Tiger Shark. And another chunk of foam. But the nice thing about those foam wheels is that even with chunks missing, they still drive quite well. Absurdity bouncing around with all the momentum stored up in that blade. But a hardy robot all the same as it just keeps biting into the foam wheels on Tiger Shark. More chunks of foam. Like half a wheel missing now on the left side of Tiger Shark, kind of thumping around. Looks like something out of the Flintstones there, riding around on square wheels. Having a little bit of trouble driving it by the looks of it. He looks like his weapon is sitting low on the ground when he's on the flat side of the wheel. And a big chunk of plastic out of the whole front of the frame there on Tiger Shark. The weapon is now leaning. It's not able to spin. Those mounts are definitely going to be busted. So Tiger Shark getting taken apart to pieces, just over 2 minutes to go. Absurdity upside down, but still in control as it comes around the backside of Tiger Shark and starts cutting him down. Big hard hit on one of the wheels. Something went ting, I don't know what it was, probably just bouncing off of the weapon blade. And yet those wheels, he's hit them dead on. Oh, and there goes An entire wheel is stuck inside of his blade, and he's getting counted down. 2, 1, and time is out. Tiger Shark has been incapacitated, so the win will go to Insanity. Absurdity. One of the TIs. Great job, Andrew, and my condolences, Albert. After that, we're going to do another Antweight. This one is going to be Andrea with Speed Wedge 1 in the red corner. And she's going to be going up against David's The Minions in the blue corner. So over in the blue corner there, you can see David has his Minions. One has a big, thick wedge at the front there. It's kind of got like circular cutouts, which is interesting. And then the other one has a little lifting arm thingy in the middle between the two pontoon-like wedges. And basically what he's going to try to hope to do with this one here is he's going to try and take the one, basically get the flat one to hold him still, while the other guy gets the lifter under him. And between the two of them, if they can pin the opponent, they can probably direct him around and get him flipped upside down and all that sort of stuff. And Andrea's just getting some electrical issues figured out here. She's got Speed Wedge 1 coming in. As the name implies, it is a wedge, and it's very fast. And that's about all there is to say about that. Actually, it's got some really, oh my gosh, that is fast. It is very fast and very sticky. The wheels are sticky. That is a great idea. It's also got some really interesting wedgelets. I really like this design. They're hinged, which is really useful for making sure that it's always touching the ground. But the thing you'll notice at the top of these wedges is they've also got little hooks. This is actually a very good strategy because often what happens with these wedges is you run into your opponent, you get under them, and they just drive right over you. So, you know, what was the point of that? But in this case, they run up the wedge, get their wheels off the ground, and then they get hooked behind those little hooks that are on the top there. And now you can push them around because they're off their wheels and you've got a good grab on them. And that's really important for these wedge-style robots because basically what you're hoping to do is push your opponent out the side. Speaking of which, Andrea, did you want your push-out open?
I want it
Close?
closed.
Okay. He's talking. Yeah. All right, so Andrea's got Speed Wedge 1 over in the red corner. David and Ethan are going to be driving the two Minions over in the blue corner. Drivers, when you're ready, you can hit your buttons. Yeah. All right, the drivers are ready. Judges are ready. We will start in 3, 2, 1, fight. All right, immediately the Minion's going to flank. Excellent, I like this choice. Okay. Minion's coming around. The Speed Wedge 1 goes ramming into, I'm going to call that one the finger because I don't know what else to call it. And Speed Wedge 1 now coming around into the wedge and pushing it up and upside down. Excellent. Oh, but it's able to flip over very quickly. Also flipping over the finger, which can use its finger to flip itself upside down. Speed Wedge 1's got some good pushing power here. This is excellent. It's really getting underneath and flipping over the two Minions. Nearly pushes the wedge over the side. Not quite, as the finger comes in and does get Speed Wedge 1 off the wheels for just a moment. But geez, that thing is fast. Bouncing into the blue saw hazard there and back out of the corner. The two Minions flailing around, trying to get around, but Speed Wedge is very well controlled in this fight. In the center of the ring here, getting into the big wedge, which is on its back. Hard to drive when they're upside down like that. Your controls are kind of half reversed. Oh, ping-ponging from blue to red hazard and hard off the red hazard again into the blue square. Andrea taking the wedge one and trying to put it into the blue hazard and nearly missed, but pinning the finger one into the red corner there. Great pushing match and pushes the one over the side. So now they're down to a half a pounder robot as Ethan is out and now it is just David driving the finger. Now Andrea has a much easier target in this case, only has to focus on one of them. Fast and getting underneath there, unfortunately not able to hook it, but there we go, stuck on the front, pushing it over to the one corner, trying to direct it around. A lot of this, I mean, it looks like, oh, you just pushed them, but a big part of it is positioning. She wants to try and lead him towards that outside edge so that she'll have an opportunity to push him out, but of course wants to make sure that she doesn't drive over the edge herself as she's pinning him into the corner here, flipping around time and time again. Nice hard hit into the blue hazard, well driven there as David's trying to use the flipper against her, but can't get it between those two wedgelets. That's really good. As soon as Andrea gets in close, she ends up hitting his wedges and pushing him up. He doesn't have a chance to get in there with that lifting arm finger on the front. Just over a minute left. We've only got one half of the Minions in here, and a big, huge back and forth pushing match between Speed Wedge 1 and the finger. Less than a minute to go. Oh, got a good hook on there. So narrowly pushing it over, trying to get it positioned, but doesn't want to go over the side. Smart driving there. You don't want to overcommit on that one or he'll be gone. 40 seconds still to go. A very strategic match here. Lots of driving skill involved in keeping this one together as Andrea tries to push him from behind, actually, using the backside of the robot. 30 seconds left. Good hard grab there. It gets between the two pontoon wedge things on the front of the finger. And now trying to direct it towards the blue. Uh-oh. Toro, I see where this is going. Your ramps drives right over top. I can get out of here, no problem. 15 seconds to go. Still looking for that one last push to push either one of them out. 10 seconds remaining. David, I don't think Andre is going to fall for that one. 5 seconds left. 3, 2, he's halfway over, and he falls over at the clock. So the win goes to Speed Wedge 1. Great job, Andrea. Right down to the line, but that was an excellent driving match. Well done to both of you. We're going to get into our second round of combat here, starting off with Albert's Mega London in the red corner, up against Travis's Blue Steel in the blue corner. These are our 1 pound Antweight class. This is about the middle of the range of what we fight here. And both of these are experienced drivers. They've driven these robots several times before, so it should be an interesting match. The one in the red corner here, driven by Albert, Mega London, has a lifting arm with a wedge on it, flips 360 degrees around itself. It's made out of fiberglass and 3D printed material. Good luck. In the blue corner, Travis has Blue Steel. This one has a horizontal overhead spinning bar with some big gnarly wedge-like teeth thing out the front. This one is interesting because it can kind of fight from both directions. The weapon doesn't go a whole distance out the front there, but it definitely does extend out the back, and yet if you get up on the wedge, it goes right up into the weapon. So interesting little design there. We're going to start these guys off in 3, 2, 1, fight. All right, Blue Steel getting spun up. There we go. See some small sparks. There we go, grinding into that arm on the front of Mega London there. That arm doing exactly what it's meant to do. The big wedge acting as a piece of armor, protecting the much softer body on the inside there. And Mega London getting underneath, kind of pushing him up. Goes up on top of those little wedge things and right up into the weapon. That is exactly what Blue Steel's little fingers are designed to do. And looks like enough hits there. Oh, chunk of something just came off the, oh, right into the tape. Looks like the lifting arm has come loose. It's flipped completely over, and that has exposed the weak front part there of Mega London. The only thing keeping it from, the electronics in and the weapons out of them is that tape on the front, and there goes the entire arm. There we go. So now Mega London is just a box, and it is getting into a pushing match here. Looks like it actually is the more effective pusher, though, as Blue Steel did, I think, try to push him out the red side push-outs, but was unable to, and now Mega London pushing Blue Steel into the blue hazard. It's just under 2 minutes left to go. Blue Steel's weapon there still very dangerous. It's been nibbling away at the tires, but doesn't look like it can get into the body of this robot anymore because it's just a little bit too high. The robot itself is quite low to the ground. Oh, there we go. Managed to get up on the thing. Weapon is now jammed. Actually, the weapon is halfway into the robot. There we go. And he is high-sided a bit. Looks like Travis might not... Travis tapping him with his weapon. Looks like both of them might be stuck in position. All right, we're going to pause the fight there. Both of them got stuck to each other as a result, so we'll put them back into their respective corners. Oh, or just do it in place. Sorry. Oh, yeah, I guess for a stick, yeah. There we go. And we're just under a minute and a half left. Travis, when you're ready.
Ready.
Travis, ready button. All right, drivers are ready. 3, 2, 1, continue. That doesn't sound nearly as bad as fight, does it? And, uh-oh, Blue Steel. Uh-oh, something went wrong with Blue Steel. It is not responding properly. I think he might have battery issues. I'm seeing that motor just barely wiggling. Mega London's going to be a jerk. He's got 10 seconds to show movement. Oh, and movement he does. Wait, there he goes. Interesting. Must have been hooked on something. There we go. Now it's up and running. So Albert being very kind and now getting absolutely destroyed. The entire half of Mega London has come out, and I don't even think it's connected anymore. Nope. Come on, you got to show movement. And it's done. The winner is Travis with Blue Steel. Yeah, absolutely the nice guy. Travis is going to get counted out there, and then one shot. Yeah. So there you go. Mega London eviscerated. There's everything hanging out. Good job there to Travis with blue steel. Very capable weapon. So you can see Mango Minute in the red corner here being driven by Brendan. This one is a fairly typical wedge design. It's wide, short, it's got a big wedge on the front. Hopefully going to be able to take quite a beating against the vertical spinning drum on Metroid. This one is very fast, got quite a lot of magnets in it, really nimble, and Dennis is quite good at driving it. And even though it's small, it really packs a punch. When you're ready, Brendan? All right, the drivers are ready. So we will start in 3, 2, 1, fight! Alrighty, Metroid right up to speed. Flipping Mango Minute, up and down and all over the place here. Oh geez, in the red hazard, both of them nice. Oh, really bit into the wedge on that one, allowing to get a good quick flip. Mango Minute surprisingly fast. I do believe he was telling me this was a 6S battery, where S basically means fast. So yeah, it's a very fast robot. Nice, another hard hit there, grabbing into the wedge on the front. I can see it already starting to take a few big dings off that spinning drum on the front of Metroid. Frame still holding up nicely, wheels too, actually quite impressed. Nice hard one there off the corner, sending it end over end. And something went wrong, Mango Minute is not moving now. That last hit must have knocked something loose. Dennis is not a nice guy. And the win goes to Dennis and Metroid. Congratulations. Metroid doing exactly what it does, hitting hard and fast and sending its opponent flying, hoping to break them enough that they can't drive any further. The next Antweight fight we've got coming up here is Pushy Wishy, being driven by Jonathan, versus number 2 being driven by Paul. Both of these people visiting us from the States, actually. Jonathan joining us from Indiana and Paul from California. Florida. I always get those two backwards. Don't ask why. So Pushy Wishy down here, again, using a fairly fast-looking little low-profile wedge-like design. Wedge seems to be mounted on a pivot, which is good, especially for a 4-wheel robot. So all 4 wheels on the ground, and then with that wedge on a pivot, it allows the wedge to sit nice and flat on the ground no matter how it's bouncing around. And very fast and nimble by the looks of it, even just that quick little test drive there. In the meantime, number 2. Yep, sure looks like it. That one has what we would call a shell spinner. So the entire body of the thing is going to be spinning, and I see it's got some things sticking out the end that will hopefully hit the opponent. And then there's actually basically like a small car on the inside, so you can drive it around while the outside body spins. That spinning body has momentum in it, and when the weapon hits, hopefully it tears things apart. Hopefully the opponent gets torn apart. I should make that clear. Paul, you got that right, Paul? All right, once both drivers are ready, we will start it off in 3, 2, 1, fight! It works? Oh gosh, it worked. Well, it certainly is a mess. So now it's upside down. That's not going to stop Pushy Wishy from coming around and giving it a quick swift kick in the behind. Number 2 is moving. Can it still spin? It lost the top, but I don't think that part matters. Oh, it might be a little bit tweaked. I don't know if he can get it spinning properly. Yeah, he's trying, but it's just not working. Meantime, Pushy Wishy doing exactly what it's doing, pushing it around. There you go. Now it's up to speed. It actually looks like it might be dangerous. And upside down again as Pushy Wishy comes in, tries to self-right him, right him for him. Number 2 stuck in the corner here, but Pushy Wishy giving it another flip over. There we go. He wants to see this one have a chance, I think. See if he can spin it up to speed again. So the body there on number 2 is, as far as I can tell, looks like it's 3D printed plastic of some sort. Hence why it comes apart in pieces the second it bumps into something. Yeah, actually, I mean, it does manage to get itself back on its wheels. 2 minutes to go, at least when it gets bumped into by Pushy Wishy. So the geometry seems pretty reasonable, maybe without the top on it. I can't believe this thing is spinning still. Oh gosh, another chunk of something just came off. The pile is shrinking. As Pushy Wishy is continuing to bump into this robot is hilarious. Paul is always good at having entertaining robots one way or another. Pushy Wishy now trying to make Crap Meat fan, and I don't even know what's happening anymore. All I know is that this thing is still driving, even though I don't think it should be. But it is alive. It is actually working. It's now taking a ride on the Pushy Wishy train. The Pushy Wishy choo-choo train is now trying to drive number 2 into the fan. Just over a minute left to go. Still no clear decisive winner in this one yet. They're both still alive. We'll see how long that lasts for. As Pushy Wishy bouncing off of the blue hazard, or sorry, number 2 bouncing off the hazard. Pushy Wishy easily getting underneath him each time here. Just a very fast, quick ram, underneath it goes, and bouncing off that blue hazard once more. 45 seconds still to go. Anybody's game here. One big hard hit from number 2, and Pushy Wishy may be disabled. Yeah, I know, I can hope, right? In the meantime, Pushy Wishy just bouncing into the red hazard again and again, with 30 seconds still remaining. Paul just wants to see how many pieces this thing can come apart in if it keeps hitting the hazards over and over. 20 seconds to go. Oh, hard hit there for Pushy Wishy. Running number 2 again over into the red corner. And just narrowly missing that red hazard. Oh, Paul, you're not supposed to put yourself into the hazard. 5 seconds still to go. 3, 2, 1. And time is up. All right, let's hear it for both of our drivers, Jonathan and Paul. Jonathan for driving, Paul for bringing number 2 to the party. Because it's always more exciting when somebody drops number 2 in there for us. I can't even say it with a straight face anymore. Thanks, Paul. This is going to go to a judge's decision. We've got 3 judges, and they're judging the match on damage, aggression, and control shown throughout the fight. And it's unanimous. The win will go to Jonathan with Pushy Wishy. So Super Nintendo Chalmers, besides being both a very difficult name to say and kind of funny at the same time, is also one of the most interesting kinds of robots that we have here today. This is something called a melty brain. The basic idea behind this robot is the entire robot is constantly spinning, like not just part of it, but the entire thing. And yet it can tell what direction it's pointing and can control the motors in such a way that it can drive sideways while spinning. So it looks like a floating disc that is basically one big spinning weapon. They're very difficult to build. They rarely work well. I can't wait to see what Brian's able to do with this one, but it should be interesting all the same. And he's going up against Ethan's Chomper. Chomper has been around for a long time, actually. This is quite a reliable robot. It's got 2 wedges, one that is the body, and then one that is the arm that comes above it. And that lifting arm can be used as both a lifter or a clamp, either way you look at it. So it can be very good for tossing and flipping your opponents around, pushing them out the side, and so on. Normally, I would say who's likely to win in this situation. I frankly have no idea. I don't even know if this thing's going to work. If it does, it's probably going to be destructive. If it doesn't, it's probably just going to get pushed out the side. No idea, but it should be interesting all the same. So when you're ready, you can hit your button, Brian?
I always forget that.
Yeah. All right, the drivers are ready. We will start in 3, 2, 1, fight. All right, Super Nintendo spinning up to speed very quickly here. Very nice. Boom, banging into Chomp and spinning right back up again. It spins very nicely. And as you can see, this is the trick. That is 1 pound spinning weapon. That's usually what we put on a 3 pound robot. So very heavy, hard-hitting robot. Now stuck in the corner here. And unfortunately, and he's tapping out. Unfortunately, on that one hit there, something went wrong. His robot stopped responding. So he is going to give it to Ethan with Chomp. Congratulations. That is unfortunate. I know he was having wiring issues with it before. He's gone through a lot of effort to try and get that all fixed up. What I can say is it worked. It actually drove pretty well. I'm impressed. Unfortunately, it only lasted a couple of hits, so maybe he'll be able to get the wiring fixed up and try to come back in the second round. So Isaiah has Fire Ant here. This one is a FingerTech Robotics Viper kit. And he previously won first place in the rookie class, which means that now he's up into the veterans. So now Fire Ant will be up against Steamed Hams. This is being driven by Brian. He had beat the Snip in a fight earlier on today, which is why Steamed Hams should be here for this fight. He's got a vertical spinning drum, which actually is a fairly good hard-hitting weapon. It's going to be very similar to... I couldn't hear the name, but if you can hear them, if you have a lost item, you should go to customer service. So steamed hams is also a vertical spinner, except for this one is a drum style as opposed to a disc with a tooth on it. So it should be a fairly similar sort of match for Fire Ant. Brian, when you're ready. All right, both drivers are ready. We will start in 3, 2, 1, fight. All right. Isaiah trying to get things a little bit under control there. It is a bit of a squirrely bot to drive. I can see it's dragging slightly on the front. Brian definitely wasting no time wanting to get around to those wheels as best as it can, hitting onto the back of Fire Ant there. Sounds like he might have... Oh, there we go. A good push into the side. As Isaiah quickly tries to get himself away from that push out. He does want to be able to use it, but he doesn't want to be the one going out it. Steamed Ham's hitting the side and getting underneath and flipping very nicely now up onto its back. So Fire Ant is upside down. This makes things very difficult to control, but Steamed Ham's now flipping him back down onto his wheels. Unfortunately, the bot is not driving all that well for Isaiah. And Steamed Ham's getting close to the edge here. He's trying to kind of push him around, carefully lead him out the side if he can. Looks like he's stuck on there by the magnets, so... Oh no, they both went out. So stop your motors. We have a double knockout, so we're going to take them, put them back into their respective corners, and then continue. Pretty sure what happened there is that the Weebs are known for having very powerful magnets on the bottom of their robots that helps get more traction on our steel floor. But as a result, that also means that it has a tendency to get stuck to its opponents, and I think that's exactly what happened when it was sitting on top of Steamed Hams. So both drivers return to your spots in your corners. The motor controllers are responding, but the motors aren't going.
Yeah, we got a double blowout. This is going to last about another 10 seconds.
Okay. Oh, yeah, you are tapped in. Okay. And we'll count in 3, 2, 1, go! All right. Now, unfortunately for Isaiah, something went wrong in that last hit, and he's not able to drive at all. So our ref is counting him down, unless he can show motion, which unfortunately he's not able to. Then he will be counted out. And that is a knockout, so the win goes to Brian with Steamed Hams. Congratulations. That is exactly what Steamed Hams is designed to do. Those hard-hitting spinners, even if they don't rip their opponent apart, can often dislodge things, break motors, and so on, just enough that they're not able to drive any further. Next up will be Albert with Tiger Shark versus David and Ethan driving the Minions. Albert is in the red corner here with Tiger Shark. Wait a minute. I thought Tiger Shark was black. I must have misremembered. It looks like Tiger Shark's actually yellow. I'm sure it'll be another color next time we see it. And it is going up against the Minions being driven by David and Ethan. For the lack of a better name, I'm going to call them the Wedge and the Finger, because that's kind of what they look like. We've got the big wide wedge one there being driven by Ethan, I do believe. And David has the one that has the 2 wedge pontoon things with a lifter in the middle. So the idea with the multi-bots that they have there, they're each a half a pound. So altogether, they're 1 pound for a weight class. And in order to win, Tiger Shark's going to have to knock out both of them, because they have to knock out over 50% of the weight, and they're each a half a pound. So Tiger Shark has a big horizontal spinning blade on the front there, and gigantic foam wheels, which last time held up very well against the beating that they took, because they definitely got chopped up a bunch. Tiger Shark is a very fast-driving robot. Albert likes to make all of his robots very fast. Seems like he might be having a little bit of issues actually controlling said robot. Just trying to make sure all the electronics are working properly here, or as best as they can. Having a little bit of trouble getting the weapon spin up in the first place. Do you want to forfeit, or do you want to go anyway? Yeah.
Is this considered a forfeit then?
I mean, you can either choose to end it now, or you can continue it. All right, so Albert is ready. David and Ethan are ready. 3, 2, 1, fight. All right. Tiger Shark's weapon having issues right off the bat, unfortunately, so he's going to try and get it spun up here. It looks like he might be able to. Oh, maybe. Having trouble with it anyway. Something's going wrong with it. In the meantime, David's finger is getting underneath Tiger Shark there, lifting him up in the corner, and pinning him well into the corner there. For the purposes of scoring, you're allowed to hold your opponent in the corner for, or pinned in any way, for no more than 10 seconds, but we will often do so as a way to show aggression and control towards the final scoring. Obviously, it doesn't help you beat up your opponent necessarily, but it can be important from a technical perspective. Tiger Shark's weapon, unfortunately, something's very wrong with it. It does spin, but very slowly, so something's gone wrong. In the meantime, it is a very large robot, and it can push. It is twice the size of each of those other ones, so he may be able to push his opponents out. In the meantime, that's all they're going to be able to do against him, because it's very unlikely that they'll be able to destroy or otherwise get him stuck in a compromising position with the design of that robot. So they're going to have to try and push him out, and so they will try. Tiger Shark oh, actually, look at that. He took the finger off of the finger. So now we have Wedge 1 and Wedge 2. Oh, and the weapon is working. There we go. That's what it's supposed to do. Nice bright spark coming off of the weapon there as Tiger Shark gets flipped upside down. Usually he'd use the weapon to try and right himself here. It's going to be a little bit tricky, especially with the two robots continually going against him. And both Wedge 1 and Wedge 2. Wedge 2 is the one with two wedges, right? Yeah. We'll call them that. Wedge 1 and Wedge 2 getting on both sides. Here's how a multi-bot works. So they can go on both sides of him at the same time, completely pin him into the corner, just keep him absolutely flustered. Thankfully, Albert's pretty used to this. He's been a combatant for a long time, so he's not going to buckle under the pressure here, but he is going to have to look very carefully and find the right opportunity to get out. Looks like Wedge 2 there, because it's got the two wedges, it's actually good at getting around the wheel. So you can actually push on both sides of the wheel and direct Tiger Shark towards the edge. But right now it's just a big spinning mess, and neither robot's wanting to engage with that. Just under a minute left. Tiger Shark stuck on top of Wedge 2 as Wedge 1 sits back and waits for the right moment. David with Wedge 2 here getting Tiger Shark right towards the edge. They're both trying to combine their efforts to narrowly push him into the blue side. Jeez, and that weapon just managed to catch it. And there he goes, puts him over the side, and the win goes to David and Ethan with the minions. Well done. Good driving. As we talked about in the last round, that bit of driving you saw there is really tricksy. What he's trying to do, both of them were trying to direct Tiger Shark towards that push out. They don't want to hit him directly, because in doing so they may push themselves to the outside the arena. Instead, they just want to narrow his opportunities so that as he's bouncing around, he's more likely to make his way over towards there and basically be boxed into a position that he can't get out of. And in the red corner here, we will have Albert with Mega London, and he's going up against Brendan with Mango Minute. So far, this tournament, Mega London has come apart in many pieces and now appears to be back in one, at least for the moment. And Mango Minute has also spent a lot of its time getting tossed around. This design for Mega London has this big arm that flips all the way around. And this is actually something that Brendan over there with Mango Minute uses on a lot of his, including his other robot, Limb Lifter, which has been a classic design for him for many years. So basically now he gets to fight against one of his own robots. The name Mega London is a bit of a play on words here. One of his other shark-themed robots was called Megalodon, and so many people butchered the name in so many different ways that he now has an entire assortment of weird, crazy names for his robots. Judges ready? Drivers are ready. Judges are ready. We'll start in 3, 2, 1, fight. Oh, Mango Minute is fast. Look at that thing go. Unfortunately, it's a little bit heavy to the one side, as it tends to tip up as it hits the gas. Albert's Mega London doing a good job of getting it off the ground and pushing it around. This time, Mango getting underneath. And Mega London using the arm to flip all over the place, just trying to get out of harm's way here. Almost using it as a way to like stop himself. That was interesting. I've never seen him use it as an anchor before, but it actually kind of did. Angle minute very fast, my goodness. Actually makes quite a good pushing bot, except for Mega London being able to use that arm to get him off his wheels just enough that he can't push back. Now getting him up onto the edge of the wedge, driving over the side, and a well-driven win by Mega London. Congratulations, Albert. All right, good driving. In the blue corner there, Dennis has Metroid. This is the 1 pound version of both. He's got two very similar, Utopia and Metroid, that are fast driving, heavy, hard hitting, drum spinning weapons. And this one here in the 1 pound class, very nimble little robot, as you can see. And then over in the red corner, Travis is getting blue steel ready. This one has big forks out the front and then quite a long spinning arm on top that's angled just down into where those two wedge armlets things are. We need names for these things. Whatever that thing is that he's got in the front, it helps to lift the opponent up into his weapon, as well as to control where they go, because if they get between those arms, he can turn against them and keep them going, keep them centered in between the weapon. All right, both drivers are ready, our judges are ready. 3, 2, 1, fight! Both of them spin up nice and fast as Metroid comes in here and gets flipped over almost instantly, bouncing off the wall. Oh, geez, sparks everywhere. Even I'm blinking as we get some nice titanium sparks flying off there. Bright white. And you can see both of these weapons quite hard hitting. No matter where they hit on the robot, there's at least sparks, if not chunks of material coming off. Part of that might be the floor, you never know. Metroid trying to flip himself upside or right side up, and there he goes. And looks like Blue Steel might have some drive issues at the moment, maybe issues period. Oh, he's got nothing going. So Blue Steel has stopped functioning. He's wiggling the sticks, but nothing's moving. So unfortunately for Travis, the winner will be Dennis with Metroid. Congratulations! So that nice hard-hitting weapon, just a few hard hits, and knock something loose. Oh, geez, and then it starts working. Oh, poor Travis. Who knows what that was, but unfortunately that has cost him the fight. So the next one here in our Antweight class, we're going to have Andrew driving Absurdity against Andrea with Speed Wedge 1. As you can see, that Speed Wedge is fast. It's got a rounded edges on the front of that big wedge, which is going to be very useful against this horizontal spinner here. Hopefully try to deflect enough of the hits that she'll be able to direct them to the outside. Hopefully be able to use his weapon against himself and break his own weapon simply by deflecting it into the walls, the ground, and everything else. One moment here as Andrew's trying to get some receiver issues figured out.
Who's in? One is it?
He's in here now. Oh, whoops. Ready to go? All right, apparently had a motor flipped around, but nothing you can't fix on the controller, thank goodness. So both drivers are ready. We will start in 3, 2, 1. Fight. Holy jeez, that thing is fast. Blocks rushes, but unfortunately must have hooked on something, turned at the last moment, and ended up into the red hazard, now upside down, exposing that soft underbelly. Chunk of one wheel coming out as it bounces off that big spinning weapon on the front of its, which one is this again? Absurdity. My goodness. Unfortunately, that armor was supposed to be protecting her. It's doing a bit, actually. It is getting in the way of that weapon, but she is going to want to get flipped back over, especially because that big magnet on the bottom is a big part of her ability to push. And with it on top, she's going to be losing that. She's doing a good job, though, of taking Absurdity and putting his weapon into the wall. That's going to be hard on his robot, hard on our arena, too. Oh, and that's what she is hoping for. He goes out inside of the arena, and the win goes to Andrea with Speed Wedge 1. Especially with the horizontal spinners, that is the risk you take, because you never know
losing Metroid fight.
Wow. Yeah, with those horizontal spinners, when you hit your opponent, you go the other way, and so you have a tendency to throw yourself just as bad as you're throwing your opponent. My goodness. We're going to start off with some Antweight fights, beginning with number 2, being driven by Paul, up against Brian's Super Nintendo Chalmers.
Yeah. Put it on if you want. If you can ram a couple screws in quick.
Looks like number 2 might be reduced to number 1. Looks like he was having some trouble, having some trouble getting the top half of his robot back on. It was really just for show anyway, but
It's not quite as
it would be nice to have. Exactly. So we've got 2 very interesting spinners here. Number 2 is, the brown thing in the red corner. And it's got a shell spinner. So there's basically like a small car underneath there, and then the entire outside of it spins. And it's got a bar coming out the side to hit its opponents with. In the other corner, Brian has Super Nintendo Chalmers. This is also a spinner, but a very strange style called a melty brain. Very few people are able to make these. Basically the idea, not Brian. The basic idea behind this is that the entire thing is constantly spinning. It's like one gigantic spinning weapon, but it's able to drive while spinning. It can actually move sideways by keeping track of what direction it's pointing and very quickly switching the motors on and off to be able to trend in one direction, basically. So he can float around while spinning at speed, which is an impressive thing for any spinner to be able to do. So far, it's worked okay as the driving has worked out okay, but he's had some electrical issues with it, which have meant that within a few seconds, everything just stopped working. So hopefully this time it'll keep going for him. Thankfully for him, he's up against number 2, which has also had some issues. And so it'll be a question of which one is able to hold up the longest, having gone into now their second round.
Sure.
All right, both drivers are ready, judges are ready. We'll start it in 3, 2, 1, fight. All right, both of them getting spun up to speed. You hear Super Nintendo bouncing around off the side. Oh my goodness. So even for a 1 pound, that just put one heck of a gash in the window and kept working. Was working, uh-oh. Stopped working. And then now Brian's saying, please hit me to get me spun up again. And Paul's like, yeah, the heck with that. Oh, there he goes, gives him a bump. Something is loose in the inside of Super Nintendo again.
Not helping at all.
Not helping. Oh, that's unfortunate. So once again, Brian's bot has Paul being a jerk here. Brian has 10 seconds to show controlled movement. However, every time that Paul bumps into him with number 2 there, he resets the timer on getting on the technical knockout. And Paul just likes being a jerk to Dawn, our ref. And so he's slowly but surely pushing him towards the hazard, or I think he's trying to push him towards the hazard.
I can't, I
This-
don't know what direction
he doesn't know what
forward.
direction he's pointing, though, because there's nothing indicating what direction is forward on the bot. Somewhere, okay, he's got a light in there somewhere. That's helpful. There we go. Congratulations. All right, the jump start did not work. So he is being counted down. Hopefully Paul will give him a break and let him go. And time is up. Time is up. The win goes to Paul with number 2. Thank you, Paul, for making us sit through that last 30 seconds.
I'm coming this way.
He doesn't even know what direction he's fighting. All right, next one's up, our Pushy Wishy versus Chomper. Pushy Wishy is driven by Jonathan, is joining us all the way from Indiana. And he's going up against Chomper, driven by Ethan. Ethan originally from Saskatchewan, now living in Manitoba. Or no, BC now. He's all over Canada these days. So in the red corner here, Jonathan's Pushy Wishy, a very fast and nimble little robot, quite low to the ground, with a wide wedge on the front there, a hinged wedge so that it sits evenly on the ground all the time. And going up against Chomper, which is both a wedge and a lifter grabber sort of thing. It's got a large arm on the top there, can flip completely around, that he can use to grab his opponent, flip his opponent, and even flip himself back upright if he gets upside down. Just a moment here, Jonathan seems to be having some controller issues. It's not quite wanting to bind. That does happen sometimes. Both of these robots are completely custom builds. Both of them, in my opinion, actually very nice custom builds. Oh, there it goes. Just in time. Temperamental little things sometimes, aren't they? Happy with your push out? Okay. All right. Oh, geez, that thing is fast. All right, both drivers are ready. Judges are ready. We'll start in 3, 2, 1, fight. And yes, Pushy Wishy, very pushy, as Chomper comes over and flips him upside down, now on his backside, so he doesn't have that wedge available to him. And Chomp hitting against the wall. He can hold him there for up to 10 seconds, which he will do because both of them have their push-outs closed, so unless they can flip each other over the wall, 10 count. All right. Oh, geez, bouncing off the red hazard there. His controls are a little bit reversed, but still able to control it. Very fast and nimble robot. Chomp, a very effective lifter flipper sort of thinger, grabbing and pinching him and pushing him into the red hazard. Very nicely done there, Ethan. It's not nearly as easy as he just made it look. Now flipping up, or getting stuck on top of Pushy, who throws him into the blue hazard, but then gets himself stuck in the corner as Chomp holds him against the wall again there. Now flipping up and putting him on the right side. I think he was trying to get him over the wall, but couldn't quite do it. And now Pushy doing exactly what he does. A very fast robot, a couple big magnets on the bottom there, and he's just going to ram him as fast as he can, try and keep him busy, because he's definitely the faster of the robots. And you can see just how quickly he's able to get underneath and throw his opponent above him. And that one time there, the Wedge did not make it underneath with the lifter. But unfortunately, Chomp not able to take advantage of it because Pushy just moving so quickly. Very twitchy little robot. Oh, geez, Chomp making himself a ramp at the side there. Pushy nearly going over top, but gets stopped and comes back into the arena. Now into the red corner here. Pushy ramming him again and again. This time hits him from the side on the wheels there, which is not nearly as low to the ground, and therefore he's able to get underneath him and toss him a bit. And another good fast one from the front. But that time the lifting arm of Chomp gets underneath and kind of pins his opponent for a moment. Pushy once again underneath, taking him across the arena. Not quite able to hit the hazard, but does get him up against the wall. And Chomp trying to drive into him, but goes over top instead. This is the thing you'll see with a lot of these fast wedges, is that without some way to keep your opponent from going over you, you can't really take as much advantage of that wedge. It just kind of flips them or sends them over top. Although if he can hit him at the side there just right, he might be able to force him over the wall. 45 seconds still to go. Both of these guys doing very well. Great driving, lots of control. Uh-oh. I said that too soon as one of the Ethan's wheels stopped working on Chomp there. Might be getting stuck or having some wiring issues. Oh, it drives right into the clamping wedge there on Chomp. Very nice. 30 seconds still to go. And Ethan trying to make his way out there. Pushy Wishy just not giving up. He's going to keep hitting him and pushing him against the side as much as he can. He wants to show as much aggression and control as he can because this is probably going to go to a judge's decision with only 15 seconds left in the match. Once again, getting around side of Chomp, pushing into the red hazard. Very nice. 6 seconds still to go. 3, 2, 1. And time is up. That's the end of the fight. Good driving to both Jonathan and Ethan. Well done. That was a fast driving match. As both guys come in here, give each other a good handshake. And this is now going to go to a judge's decision. So it's based on damage, aggression, and control. Not a whole lot of damage, although must say that Ethan's one wheels did stop working. So that is possibly going to count against him in that category. But otherwise, it's largely going to be about aggression and control. The big difference there is aggression is basically about going after your opponent, not trying to avoid them. Whereas control is about whether or not you are the one who is able to dictate the flow of the match. So, for example, pinning your opponent in a corner or directing them around, keeping them from getting away, that sort of thing.
Split decision.
It's a split decision, but the judges have decided that the win will go to Pushy Wishy. Congratulations, Jonathan. Well done. Difficult driving on both sides there. All right, the next Antweight is going to be a multi-bot of the Minions, driven by David and Ethan, up against Blue Steel, driven by Travis. So Ethan and David over here have a multi-bot. The idea behind these is this is a 1 pound weight class, and each of these robots is half a pound. So together they constitute one robot. And the rule behind this is in order to beat them, you have to take out over 50% of their weight. And since they're each half a pound, you're going to have to take them both out. The advantage they do have is that with two of them, they're a lot harder target to hit. They can work together, they can isolate their opponent they can just keep him busy and keep him off his game. The downside is that you only have, each one of them is half as strong, so they can be easier to take out, and if one's down, well, now it's only half a bot, and it's going to be a lot harder of a fight. I'm going to give them names because it's really hard to tell which one's which, so there's going to be Wedge and the Finger, and the one with the little lifting arm in the front is going to be the Finger, at least for as long as it continues to have that finger.
Just name a minion.
Has a tendency to come apart. What, Minion 1 and Minion 2?
Like Bob and
Bob,
Dave.
Dave.
Dave, Steve, I don't know.
And then over in the blue corner, Travis is setting up Blue Steel. This one here has an overhead spinning bar. It's actually quite an effective little weapon. Spins fast, hits hard. And he's got two little wedge fingers on the front there. And the idea of those is that they're able to get the opponent up off their wheels and into the weapon if he can run into them, usually exposing kind of the underbelly and preventing them from getting away too easily. The other hard part about driving a multi-bot is you've got two drivers with two brains, and they rarely know what each other is doing. Ready, guys? All right, the drivers are ready, judges are ready. We'll start in 3, 2, 1, fight. All right, Blue Steel spinning up as the minions try to part ways. Uh-oh, they both end up going in the same direction, and the Finger got hit hard into the red hazard there. I think he's now waiting for his turn as the Wedge being driven by Ethan, who's now flipped upside down as well. Hey, look at that teamwork there. Excellent. Did manage to get a good hard flip on Blue Steel, but as they were too busy flipping themselves back over, yeah. And there's the problem. Oh, geez, look at that. Wedge putting Travis into the red hazard, who's now forced to right himself by flailing around on his weapon. It is a powerful enough weapon, though, that he can do that and completely takes a wheel off of the Wedge. That Wedge bot is going to be having a hard time now. And another good hard hit there on the back of the second one there. The Finger took a bunch of chunks of foam out of those wheels. That was not good for its driving ability. It is still working. Does it still have the Finger on it? No, the Finger is gone. And now the Finger is fingerless. He's still able to drive his robot, and a fairly capable pusher at that. But now here's the problem, is that he's only half of a robot. And in a pushing match, he's probably not going to do very well against that full-size Blue Steel. And Blue Steel taking advantage of this, hitting him hard on the front there with the weapon. Not worrying too much about the Wedge guy. Oh my goodness, there goes the weapon clean off of Blue Steel. The entire motor can has come off with the weapon attached, so now he's just a pusher. So now we have 3 pushers, one of which only has 1 wheel. But there is an open side there. Blue Steel getting those finger wedges around him, and this is exactly what those things are able to do as well, is to direct their opponent around. So he can use those to get around the sides of his opponent or in between the pieces of his opponent and use that to push them around. He's actually quite a capable pusher despite his main mode of operation being that overhead spinning bar. And you can see here pushing the second one into the first one. I think he's going to try and use them as bait. Maybe use them as armor, just like robot shield. In the meantime, the Finger one there trying to get around behind him and trying to push him, but Blue Steel quite fast, I think almost as fast as the second one, but a little bit better downforce, I think, a little bit better control. 45 seconds still to go. Now getting into the large wedge there. I think Travis would like to be able to push him up the side if he could, but it is hard with the two of them there. Well, he's trying to direct him. I did see that as he turns around and promptly puts the Finger into the red hazard. 30 seconds still to go. Good pushing match between the two of them. Actually, that's impressive for the Finger because, again, he's only half the size. But he's doing a good job nonetheless. Travis Blue Steel trying to get him towards that side push out, but it is difficult to control what direction they're going because they've got their own motors and they're trying to interfere with it as much as they can if they get into that position. 10 seconds remaining. Can he get one of them out the side? That would be a huge victory for him. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and time is up. That's the end of the match. Well driven to all 3 of you. My goodness. I can't believe they all stayed in as long as they did. So this will go to a judge's decision. Once again, damage, aggression, and control. There was definitely some damage on there, but on both sides, losing that weapon does count as damage towards Blue Steel. But aggression and control as well, very important aspects. That's over 2/3 of the scoring. So this will be a very difficult one for the judges, I'm sure, as they very quickly come up with an answer. And it was a split decision, but the winner will be Blue Steel. Congratulations, Travis. So Mega London here that Albert is just getting set up in the red corner. This one has like a pushing wedge arm on the front, but this arm can flip completely around the robot, which can be useful for lifting his opponent, for sticking them in a corner, or even for flipping itself back over if it gets stuck or if it gets pinned. Actually a very flexible little piece of equipment on there. Unfortunately also a little bit fragile, as it has come off completely once already. Hopefully it'll be able to stay on against the big horizontal spinning bar on the front of Absurdity, driven by Andrew over there in the blue corner. That thing so far has been very hard hitting. Quite reliable little robot. I have a distinct feeling that Mega London will be leaving in pieces. Oh yeah, exactly. Mega London and Absurdity. Yeah. Judges ready? All right, the drivers are ready, the judges are ready. We will start it in 3, 2, 1, fight. Interesting. Absurdity hiding behind the blue hazard. He's not really spun up to speed here. I think he might be having a little bit of weapon trouble. Mega London wants to try and take advantage of the situation. Oh yeah, he's going for a kickoff here, I think. His weapon's spinning, but it's not spinning well. In the meantime, Mega London wants to take advantage of the situation. Oh geez, bouncing hard off the red hazard. Oh, it looks like that was what he needed. He got the weapon going. It is spun up. There it goes. And you're, the people behind me are right. I absolutely cursed Absurdity by saying that he was going to destroy Mega London. Oh, geez, hard hit off the wall. Weapon right back up to speed, thankfully, but Mega London looking at, oh, there, one half of the arm is out. The other half's hopefully still connected. Screws going flying. And now the front right wheel is damaged, and the whole top panel has become disconnected. I don't know if the robot is still operable. Looks like the back wheel is also damaged. It's just opening itself up with the arm. Oh my goodness. Is this controlled movement? It is movement of some kind. Our ref is counting him down unless he can show. Done? Yeah, we're working. Everybody wants to count that one. I can't believe it's still moving. It looks so sad. Andrew's just sitting back. I mean, right now, everything's exposed. So don't touch him. Don't do nothing. All right. Now he's counting down. And unfortunately for Mega London, he's nothing but a pile of parts. I called it, folks. The win goes to Andrew with Absurdity. Congratulations. Poor Andrew, absolutely at a loss here because he's like, what do I do? I don't want to hit him. I'm just like, it's going to just explode in my face. We already make a very clear point about not going after exposed batteries. So, yeah, that is definitely the end of Mega London. Good job to Absurdity. So the Snip over in the red corner here being driven by Jonathan, joining us all the way from Indiana. Thank you very much to him for coming all this way. It sounds like he's been ripping things up over in Ontario, so happy to have him here and provide some stiff competition. The Snip here, one heck of a big vertical spinning disc on there. That's very large for this weight class. And going up against Chomp, which has been a quite nimble and reliable lifter, flipper, clamper thinger. All right, the drivers are ready. We will start it in 3, 2, 1, fight. Snip silent, but up to speed. Just making, oh, you can hear a little bit. Oh, there he goes. Now he's giving her. Oh, geez, and there goes a chunk of the lifting arm already. One of the wedge thing pieces have come off. And immediately Chomp has stopped functioning after that hit. Wow. Looks like the Snip wants to try and take another shot at him, unless Ethan feels like tapping out. Ah, there we go. Just needed to knock things back into shape. Give it another go. If I get it here, I'll hit you harder this time. I don't think that's actually helping move him, though. It's just eating into him. There you go. Try to help him out, but unfortunately, hard to do much of anything. That was awfully kind of him, but Chomp is just going nowhere here. And poor Don is getting tired of saying 10. Every time that he's not able to move, we start the 10-second countdown, but if Jonathan does knock into him, then that resets the clock, so. There we go. He's going to let him go. Ethan doesn't want to tap out. He's going to wait to get counted, apparently.
4, 3, 2, 1.
And unfortunately, that is the end of it for Chomp. The win goes to Snip. Congratulations. One good hard hit from that spinning weapon is all it took to knock the robot out. That does happen sometimes, and you know, a lot of times it just comes down to the electronics. Their wires are connected in there, you know, various pressure fit connectors. One hard hit and it can lock things loose and away you go. Third fight we have coming up here is going to be number 2 versus Fire Ant. These are also in the Antweight class. Number 2 are big brown pile that spins very fast. This thing is a shell spinner. So there's basically a small remote control car inside there. The whole rest of the body on top spins and has a bar protruding from it that will strike its enemies, hopefully at high speed. And this is being driven by Paul, who's joined us from Florida. Over in the blue corner there, Isaiah is going to be loading up Fire Ant. He won our rookie class last year, so now he is joining in the veterans class. He's driving a Fingertech Robotics Viper kit with a large titanium wedge on the front, as well as some rather powerful magnets underneath to give it better control and traction. And I'm sure he's going to be hoping to push this big pile of poo out the side. All right, competitors are ready. We will start it in 3, 2, 1, fight. All right, number 2, spinning up to speed, actually spinning quite well. Although hard to control, there's a little blue light on it that helps him tell which way is, well, backwards, so that he knows which way is forward. Oh, geez, and a hard hit into the blue hazard. But number 2 keeps spinning. And another hard hit, this time upside down. Oh, gosh. Well, he's trying to get himself moving. I can see wires coming out and everything. This thing is just coming apart in pieces. The more he tries to spin himself, the more he ejects components. And number 2 is done. The win goes to Fire Ant. Congratulations, Isaiah. So that is actually one of the main ways of going against these big spinning opponents. If you are a big wedge pusher design, you do want to try and push your opponent out the side if you can, but another way that you can take them apart is just by hitting them and forcing them to rip themselves apart. You know, hitting them off balance, bouncing into the walls, the floor, all that sort of thing can introduce enough forces internally to them to bust them up. And we are going to have Brian driving Steamed Hams in the red corner versus Andrea with Speed Wedge 1 over in the blue. Both of these have done very well so far this weekend. Steamed Hams has a big vertical spinning drum on the front, which even in this 1-pound weight class with such a small bot, it is very resilient and able to get some really big hits. And Andrea's Speed Wedge 1 has some very interesting wedge fingers on the front. They are hinged so that if they get up against something like a spinner like this, they'll more or less just flip back out of the way and also make sure that they rest nicely on the ground. But they've also got some hooks on the top of them so that as the competitor rides up on top, it's able to hold them in place and allow her to push them around very effectively. So very nice wedge finger design, worked well so far. And as the name implies, this thing is very fast, very crazy driving, but she's very good at controlling at the same time. So going to be interesting to see if she can take advantage of her speed and dexterity in order to take control of the fight away from Steamed Hams, or if he's simply going to overpower her with that big spinning weapon on the front. All right, drivers ready, judges ready, starting in 3, 2, 1, fight. And already you can hear Steam Hams coming up to speed, bouncing hard with that spinning drum off those wedge fingers on the front of Speed Wedge 1. And interesting to see those little hooks on the front of the wedges actually working against Andrea in this case, because they are catching very well on the drum and allowing it to engage very well. Now Steam Hams is upside down, hitting hard as Speed Wedge 1 puts the wedges directly into that weapon. I think she's hoping to try and break him just by throwing those wedges into it over and over again, and they are taking holding up very well against that drum, but unfortunately, they catch too hard. Steamed Hams throws her over the side, and the win goes to Brian with Steamed Hams. Congratulations. My, that was a good fast fight there. Lots of big hits off the front of that drum, and those wedge fingers held up really well against those hits. Unfortunately, just happened to bounce off in the wrong direction, and all it takes is one hard hit sometimes to get thrown out of the arena and end it. The next Antweight we have coming up will be Dennis with Metroid against Jonathan's Pushy Wishy. Looks like Jonathan has changed the weapon that he has on the front of his. Normally he has a wide titanium wedge on there, but at the moment he has a bunch of spikes of some material. I'm not exactly sure what they are. Rounded spikes, which undoubtedly are going to try to get between and under the spinning teeth on the front of the drum of Metroid. Hopefully that'll work well against him. The same toothed wedge that he has there is also hinged to try and keep them on the ground, and it looks like it's got quite an angle that it can fly through, which will be useful in case it does catch on the drum of Metroid. Metroid, also a vertical drum spinner, a very effective weapon, and it looks like he's got a little wedge thing on the front of this one here to try and drive his opponent up into the weapon. This is a very hardy bot. It's small but compact, quite dense, and very maneuverable. There's quite a bit of magnet downforce in there, giving him lots of traction. He's able to move and control it very well and get around his opponents, and that's a big part of what makes him such a deadly weapon. Both of the drivers are ready. We will start in 3, 2, 1, fight. And you can hear Metroid coming up to speed instantly there, running into the side of Pushy Wishy, trying to hit those exposed tires as best as he can. Hitting hard off of one of the spiked teeth on the front of Pushy Wishy, who is getting underneath and able to pin Metroid in the corner, at least for a moment. Thankfully, Metroid, because of those little wedge fingers on the front, even if Pushy is pushing him into the wall, it's not able to stall his weapon, which is a common tactic that's used against these drum spinners. But because of those little wedges, it keeps him away from the wall enough that he doesn't lose energy. Again, bouncing off of the forks on the front of Pushy Wishy, knocking him around a bit, but not entirely flipping him over. A good catch there, tossing him into the wall, and it looks like some of the spikes might already be getting bent up a little bit. Metroid getting flipped over by the red hazard, but back again, a hard hit on the back of Pushy Wishy, taking a chunk out of the rear armor. Starting to come apart now as Metroid is ramming into him repeatedly, trying to hit him as much as he can. I think with both push-outs closed, it looks like Pushy Wishy's goal is to hopefully just let Metroid break himself, but this is a hardy bot that rarely comes apart. Oh, geez, Pushy Wishy almost ramping him over one of the side walls. Perhaps that's what he's hoping to do. Looks like he's done well at it so far, but he is losing his front right wheel. Pushy Wishy's wheel's taking some damage from that spinning drum on the front of Metroid. A minute 45 still to go in the fight. Pushy Wishy running in again and bumping Metroid off of that weapon. And another good hit from Metroid on the side of Pushy Wishy. Pushy Wishy holding him against the side wall and pinning him there. He's got 10 seconds to hold him, something that he'll do as a strategic move to try and score points with the judges, because if it does go to a judge's decision, it'll be important to show control throughout the fight. But that wedge on the front of Pushy Wishy does look like it's starting to take a beating from the drum, and another good hard hit on the side from Metroid. Metroid again into the wheels, more foam coming off. Ramping up hard over top of the fingers on the front of Pushy Wishy, who's ramping him again and almost gets him over the sidewall. Great driving. He's able to push him into the low side of the wall. Unfortunately, just can't quite ramp him all the way up. Metroid upside down, not quite as effective in this position, using the red hazard to put himself back on his wheels. Pushy Wishy having a bit of trouble getting around the red hazard, unfortunately. It's a fairly wide wedge on the front of Pushy Wishy, and it looks like those forks are starting to come loose inside of the wedge. Not sure if that's going to be a problem for him or not, but so far it seems to be holding up well. With 38 seconds still to go, this is a long fight to be going against Metroid. Pushy Wishy holding up very well against the hits that it's been receiving again and again. And now getting into a bit of a pushing match, and surprisingly, Metroid holding up very well in such a match, but he does have a lot of magnet downforce to help him out with that as Pushy flips him over in the red corner, and Metroid righting himself again. You can see foam flying around everywhere, bouncing off of the Wedge, and oh geez, almost goes over the side. Metroid getting another hard hit. Just 13 seconds left in the match. Metroid hoping to get one big hit against him, but doesn't want to ramp over him towards the wall. Running out of time, 5 seconds to go. 3, 2, 1, and time is up. Congratulations to both drivers, Dennis and Jonathan. Going 3 minutes against Metroid is an accomplishment in itself. And holy heck, did it ever hold up against all of those hits. Not a whole ton of damage on Pushy Wishy. There's definitely something visible on there, but everything's still operating and end up turning into quite a pushing match back and forth as each one vied to try and throw the other one over the edge wall. This is going to go to a judge's decision now. We've got 3 judges, and they'll be judging this on 3 categories: damage, aggression, and control shown throughout the match. And this is why you saw a couple of times there that Jonathan's Pushy Wishy would pin Dennis's Metroid up against the wall there, is to try and demonstrate that control. The aggression comes down to going after your opponent again and again. You don't want to run away and turtle. That's not helpful in the match. And damage, as you can imagine, if pieces are coming off, that is damage. So we'll just give our judges a minute here to try and decide. It's going to be a difficult one, I don't doubt. Neither competitor ever wants it to come down to a judge's decision because you never know what's going to happen. If you manage to go that long, that means that clearly things were going well for both of you.
I should have had some of those push-ups there.
Yeah.
I was thinking,
You could have you.
I would have.
I can hear the frustration from one of the judges already, trying to decide exactly what he wants to do out of that one. Sometimes it comes down to 1 point on the score sheet. You'd hate to choose that point for the wrong side.
Yeah, because that's what this. I'm hoping you hit there. You found some of the Kevlar.
It was a split decision for Metroid.
So it's a split decision, but the judges have decided the win will go to Dennis with Metroid. Congratulations. That was a really close fight. Hard one to judge, no doubt. Travis going arg behind me here. Difficult one to decide. Over in the blue corner, you can see Travis already has blue steel loaded in. This one has an overhead spinning bar, horizontally spinning bar, with 2 kind of tined forks on the front. Those serve 2 different purposes. One is to get the opponent up into the weapon blade, and it's worked quite well at that. And it also can be used to control the direction of the opponent, try to keep them between those 2 forks in the vicinity of the weapon. It also can be useful when pushing them around in a bit of a pushing match. Jonathan loading up in the red corner here with the Snip. This has got an overhead vertical spinning disc, quite a large one for this weight class, and a very hardy robot so far. Very clean, well-built little unit. You'll see that on top of the weapon there's an extra bar across it. That is in case it gets flipped over so that it's not riding directly on the weapon, so the weapon can continue to spin even while it's upside down, although it's not quite as effective in that position. Down is good, but the up's terrible. Actually, the down's not even great because it was 200 before, so they're both getting saturated. We have judges? Who all do we have for judges? Who else are we supposed to have for judges?
Yes. We'll bump them 2 other people.
Dawn? We have 2 other judges? Just be a moment while we get everything in order. In the meantime, I'm going to just quickly thank our sponsors. Big shout out to Big Blue Saw, Equal Zero Designs, Sask Techworks, WD Plastics, Palulu Robotics and Electronics, FingerTech Robotics, Actobotics, and Robot Marketplace, and certainly, last but not least, Prairieland Park and Saskatchewan Entertainment Expo for having us here today. Thank you very much to all of them for helping to provide us with all of the things you see here today. This is not a cheap hobby to run, as you might imagine, but we love putting it on for the audience here. So thank you to all of them for sponsoring us. If you'd like your name shouted out and put up on the screens and everything here too, we're looking for more sponsors. Come talk to us after the event. Now we're ready? All right, drivers are in position. The judges are ready. We will start it in 3, 2, 1, fight. Both weapons spinning up to speed quite quickly here. Not sure which one's making all the noise there, but they're going to make, one hard hit from the Snip. And already the weapon has come off the top of Blue Steel, but his push out is open. I think he's going to hope to try and push the Snip out, which might be a possibility. Actually, both of these quite capable little pushers, and both quite good drivers as well. You can see basically a dead match here in a pushing match. Blue Steel doing a fairly admirable job of taking the hits off Snip so far, other than that poor weapon that found its way out there. And I think for a moment Travis is going to try and use his own weapon as a guard against the Snip. Snip hitting the wall and almost getting stuck, but using the momentum of his weapon, able to throw himself back onto his wheels. Now losing this pushing match as one wheel is off the ground. Travis taking Blue Steel, trying to get to the blue push out, but getting hung up against the wall just before he gets over there. Jonathan, in earlier matches with other robots, has shown that he's very capable of controlling the positions of his opponents, but there you can see Travis's two little fingers there getting around the wedge on the front of the Snip and able to use that in order to direct him where he wants to go. Now getting him over towards the red side here. It's getting underneath the wider part of the wedge. Oh, geez, it almost gets over there, but Jonathan manages to direct it just enough to keep himself away from the push out. As Travis pushes him into the red hazard, bounces him towards the blue push out, but again bouncing off the walls, once again trying for a push, but the Snip able to get out of the way. Big pushing match going on here so far. The weapon on the Snip, quite dangerous, but Travis doing a good job of avoiding the weapon and being able to hold him and control him. Under a minute and a half to go still, as that weapon does catch on one of the forks on Blue Steel, sending it flying, but immediately Travis comes right back in, pinning Blue Steel or Snip in the corner for just a moment, again getting around that wedge in the front. Those low forks being quite effective, and now with the weapon on top, Snip against the wall. Oh, Travis comes in, gives him a quick tap to flip him over on his front, but he does come back up, right side up. I see a few screws on the ground now. Things are starting to come apart for one of them, just under a minute to go in this fight, and Blue Steel taking a bit of damage on the front from that weapon on the Snip, but still able to control and still be able to push him around the arena and hoping for that push out. 45 seconds remaining. We could see a very quick win here as one of them goes out the side. Travis manages it. Blue Steel wins. Congratulations, Travis. That was a really hard-fought driving battle. I'm sure Jonathan was hoping that at least one of those hard hits off the weapon would either end the Blue Steel or at least send him flying out of the arena. But with enough time and enough patience, Travis was able to direct him out that blue side. The next Antweight coming up will be Andrew with Absurdity versus Isaiah with Fire Ant. This is Isaiah's first time in the veteran class. Previously, he was a winner in our rookie class, so he's moving up into the veterans. Andrew, quite a veteran himself. He's got several very hardy titanium robots, so this will be a very challenging fight for Isaiah, but so far he's shown to be a fairly decent driver and is going to hope to hit that his robot can outlast against Absurdity. Speaking of rookies, if you guys are interested in joining Robot Combat, it's really easy to get started. We have a rookie class dedicated to exactly that, so you can go up against other people who are first-time builders, first-time drivers. You'll find that the robots there tend to be a lot less destructive, a little bit easier to get into. You don't have to worry about your robot getting destroyed first time in. And we've got a really happy crew here. Loves to help people with their robots, you know, lending tools and support and all that kind of stuff. Lots of good ideas about how to get started. And you can see Isaiah's Fire Ant over there. This is based on the FingerTech Robotics Viper kit. That's a really good way to get started because it's got all the parts that you need to have something that is in the Antweight class, that is hardened for battle, and easily customizable to be able to add on weapons and such later on. Just be a moment here as Grandpa Dale here tries to help him out and get everything fixed up with that robot. One thing you will find with these robots that's a little bit misleading when you see the pros driving around here is that they're very hard to keep going straight, especially when you've got a two-wheel vehicle like that with a big wedge in the front. Wherever a low point is on that wedge, it's going to want to turn around that point. And that can differ depending on how uneven the ground is and what happens during combat as things get bounced around. So it's entirely possible that as you're driving it, the thing does not want to drive straight, and you have to compensate on the fly. It takes a lot of practice, a lot of experience, a lot of skill in order to be able to get these things to go anywhere close to where you want them to be. Over in the red corner here, Andrew has Absurdity. This has a big horizontal spinning bar. It's a really hard-hitting bar, very powerful. And all of his robots are made out of large amounts of titanium. Thankfully, as a machinist, he's quite capable at working that kind of stuff himself. All right, Isaiah and Andrew are both ready to go, so we will begin it in 3, 2, 1, fight. Absurdity spinning up the speed and spinning around. The momentum from that blade as it winds up is giving him a good push. And oh, look at that. Fire Ant rams into the weapon, sending him off kilter. That is a good way to try and break these robots, is just jam into that weapon. And you can see how powerful that weapon is. It has started to take chunks out of the Wedge on Fire Ant, big scrapes up the side, and bending some of that titanium Wedge on the front. But you know, that Wedge is doing exactly what it's supposed to do. Isaiah getting just in the right position here to try and defend against that weapon, but oh, there it goes. It has taken off one wheel from Fire Ant, but Isaiah's not giving up. Look at that, driving right into the weapon, sending him off kilter again, flipped upside down. Absurdity is going to be a little bit harder to reach him at this point, but Fire Ant's, look at it, he's making his way across the arena with only one wheel. What a great driving here by Isaiah, making his way once again into Absurdity, hitting him hard. He is hitting this weapon perfectly each time, just sending it off kilter, and that's the kind of motion that is really good at breaking the weapons on these bots. And I see something disconnected hanging out of Absurdity. I don't think that's good for the weapon. I have a funny feeling that is not functioning anymore. So now, Fire Ant with one wheel, Absurdity with no weapon, 1 minute 45 to go. This is going to be a really tough one if it goes to a judge's decision, and honestly going to be a difficult one for a pushing match even, because I don't think either of these is in a good chance to be having a pushing match right now. But that's certainly not going to stop Isaiah from trying. He is consistently getting his way over to Absurdity, hitting him with that Wedge on the front, getting underneath him. And Andrew trying whatever he can do, looking like he wants to use the back end of his robot to push Fire Ant as best as he can, because the front's not going to do a whole lot for him at this point. Both of them, if it does go to a judge's decision, damage, aggression, and control are the things that they're going to be considering. So it's important to always be attacking your opponent and to try to be the one kind of directing the flow of combat, such as being able to push them where you want them to go and forcing their hand in terms of positioning. Less than a minute to go. Isaiah's Wedge easily getting underneath of Absurdity. Absurdity trying its best to hit from some kind of an angle, but this bot is not meant to be a pusher. So he's kind of a little bit helpless to be able to do anything in a situation like this. He'd love to push Fire Ant out the side, but that's going to be difficult. Both with that big flat back that just keeps going under the Wedge of Fire Ant, and also the fact that Fire Ant's only got one wheel, is a big steel frame dragging around on the ground with 30 seconds left. Fire Ant once again getting underneath of Absurdity. Back and forth. I mean, he doesn't have a lot of options. He's only got one wheel. It can only go two directions, but by choosing the right directions, he is slowly but surely making his way around the arena. 15 seconds. Trying to get into a good pushing match here. It's funny because it's like he's just spinning in circles, but he's not. He's actually making progress towards his opponent, hitting him where he needs to. 3, 2, 1, and time is up. What a fight for both of them. Let's hear it for Andrew and Isaiah. Absurdity with some huge hits there, really banging into Fire Ant. Fire Ant, despite all of the damage on it, never giving up, never surrendering, and actually doing a great job of putting that Wedge in front of the weapon and protecting the rest of the robot for as long as he could. So once again, this will go to a judge's decision. We'll give them a few seconds here. There's 3 judges on our panel, and damage, aggression, and control are the categories that we score on. I don't even want to guess where this is going to go. It's too hard to say, other than that was a very long match with a lot of hits back and forth. It's a split decision, but the win goes to Fire Ant. Congratulations, Isaiah. Well done. The important thing, I think, in that one is that damage is only one category, and actually both were quite damaged as a result of losing his weapon. That's not good, but man, did Isaiah ever manage to direct the flow of combat for a lot of it there. Did a really good job of pushing his opponent around and being in the right places at the right time. The next Antweight fight we will have for you here is Travis with Blue Steel against Jonathan with Pushy Wishy. Travis's Blue Steel has an overhead horizontal spinning bar It's been very effective so far, other than the part where it tends to come off after a good big hit. But thankfully for him, he also has a couple of steel tines on the front, and those little forks are able to both push the opponent up into the weapon, as well as be able to help control them to keep them away from hitting him, and to allow him to push them around in a pushing match and possibly push them out the side. Pushy Wishy being driven by Jonathan. He's joining us all the way from Indiana today, so thank you very much to him for coming up. And everybody here was a little bit concerned because of the fact, oh, looking for the broom? A little bit concerned because of the fact that he has done very well in matches in Ontario, but so far Saskatchewan seems to be giving a run for his money. He has Pushy Wishy, which is a reconfigurable bot. In this case, he has a large titanium wedge on the front that is hinged, and that allows him to take some blows from an opponent. And actually, one thing that he seems to be doing very well at so far is ramming his opponent at high speed, launching them with the wedge over the wall. That is one heck of a maneuver, something that takes a lot of driving skill and a lot of strategy to be able to pull off, and he's been doing very well at it so far. So can't wait to see if he's able to get the best of Travis. Travis is definitely a seasoned driver and has been able to do quite a lot of those kind of maneuvers himself. So depending on how long that weapon lasts for, it might be a matter of destruction or it might be a matter of just skillful driving. Both drivers have their push-outs open. Look like they're both hoping to have a bit of a quick pushing match here. I think after the last couple of times that Blue Steel's weapon has come off and he's won by pushing, he's just going to rely on that to start with. Pushy Wishy still showing a little bit of damage on the back there. It had quite a crack put in its frame in its last fight, but it's still up and running after some emergency repairs in the pits over our lunch break here, and now it is good to go. Just give these guys a few minutes to get everything together here. There's quite a lot of safety involved in powering up the robot, especially when you have a nasty weapon on there. You don't want it to activate while your fingers are in the way, because these things will break titanium armor. You can sure bet they'll go straight through a finger. Everybody's ready? And we will begin now in 3, 2, 1, fight! Blue Steel getting up to speed. Nice little fan on top there. Comes down and instantly comes off. That's kind of what we thought might happen, but a wheel has also come off of something. Oh, it was on the back of Pushy Wishy. Thankfully, he has 4 to start with, so he's only down to 3. Still very maneuverable nonetheless. And Blue Steel lost control for just a moment. He did get it back. In the meantime, Pushy Wishy nearly managed to get him out the side. Unfortunately for Travis having a little bit of radio issues, that does happen sometimes. But he's back in the fight, and you can see ramping over top of Pushy Wishy. It's hard to get underneath of that low wedge that he's got there. Sometimes he can do it, sometimes he can't. There he does, but immediately Jonathan thinking very quickly, backing up and then ramming him again so that he can be the one getting underneath. And that fast bot, really hard to outmaneuver. And Jonathan doing a great job of driving it, trying to be the one to get underneath him. And you can see again and again ramming into him. One of the things he's hoping to do is direct Blue Steel to one of the sides, or especially the side that is closed. They can just ramp him over while safely keeping himself in the arena. But he's also hoping in the event that this does go to a judge's decision, a nice push into the red hazard by Pushy Wishy there. He is hoping that if this goes to a judge's decision, he can show a lot more aggression and control. Blue Steel once again losing control of his robot. It is not responding. As Jonathan backs off, he's got 10 seconds to show movement. He's flipping the sticks, but something is not acting. And he's going to be counted out. That's the end of it for Blue Steel. The win goes to Pushy Wishy. Congratulations, Jonathan. Looks like he was able to tank the hits as long as he had to. Only one big one there, but that was enough to destroy that weapon. And then after that, Blue Steel was just not operating correctly. And Jonathan able to keep him busy long enough, keep himself from going out long enough to be able to win the fight and let him fall apart on his own there. I'll just quickly clean out the arena here. And Fire Ant, driven by Isaiah in the red corner here, FingerTech Viper kit. That has been very effective so far. Isaiah showing himself to be a capable driver with this vehicle, even up against some very hard-hitting robots. This is his first time in the veteran course after having won the rookie class last year. And Andrea with Speed Wedge 1 over in the blue corner there, a very fast and nimble pusher with hinged finger-like wedges on the front with hooks on top, so that when the opponent goes up on top, she's able to push them around quite effectively. When you're ready, just hit your button on the side, bud. Oh, hit it again. Hit it again. Hit it again. It was on. Yeah. Oh, no. Just one. Okay. All right, both drivers are ready. We will begin in 3, 2, 1, fight. All right, and very quickly, Speed Wedge 1 coming in here flips over quickly as it hits Fire Ant's wedge, and now Isaiah pushing Speed Wedge 1 into the side, but my goodness, look how fast that thing is as it springs to life, jumping over top of Fire Ant. This thing is ridiculously both fast and powerful. Lots of magnets, lots of S's hitting underneath Fire Ant, pushing towards the red hazard and now into it. Very fast and nimble robot. Fire Ant seems to be stuck against the wall. Its low wedge has been stuck inside of the arena wall. It is unable to move, unfortunately, and Andrea does not want to. Wait, what's going on? Yeah. Yeah, so this will be a countdown for a technical knockout. A little bit of miscommunication here. There is a different kinds of... No, he had it paused. So we are counting it down, unfortunately, without being able to get out. And Isaiah says, yeah, there's no way I'm getting out. Might as well not wait the 10 seconds. So the win will go to Andrea with Speed Wedge 1. Congratulations. We're going to do our next round of fights in just a minute here, starting with the Antweight class. This is the 1 pound class, our most popular, with Brian driving Steamed Hams over here in the red corner, and he's going to be against Dennis with Metroid over in the blue corner. Both of these robots, very vicious. They've been beating up their opponents all weekend. Both of them have vertical spinning drums that are quite heavy, spin at high speeds, store up a lot of kinetic energy, and all at once they jam that into their opponent, try to destroy them or at least toss them over the wall and out of the arena, out of play, and that is one way that they can win. Jonathan, we're going to have 3-minute matches here. We're in a double elimination tournament, and so the 2 ways that they can, well, 3 ways they can win, one of which they really don't want to have to rely on. One way is to disable your opponent so they are unable to continue moving. So if you can get them stuck on their side, if you can bust the electronics so that nothing's driving anymore, that is one way you can win. Another way is to toss them over the side and out of play. And you'll see pusher robots and wedges and lifters and stuff. There's actually a door on each contestant's side where they can choose to leave that portion of the arena open if they want to take advantage of it. In this case, both these guys have big, heavy weapons, so they're not too concerned about pushing their opponent out. They'd rather just destroy them. And at the end of 3 minutes, if there isn't a clear victor, then it will go to a judge's decision. Nobody wants that because it's way too hard to know exactly what's going to happen. Even the judges aren't sure. So both of these guys are really hoping that they can just break the other one before they get broken themselves. You guys are ready? Everybody's in. We're ready. We are going to start this in 3, 2, 1, fight. You can hear all that noise. Even at 1 pound, these things have really hard spinning weapons, and boom, a big hit right off the bat by Metroid, entirely cracking the armor on one side of Steamed Hams, now going into the other side, throwing him up into the wall, and Steamed Hams, because of the cracked frame, is not able to get a wheel down on the floor. He is going to be dead in the water here. He's got 10 seconds to show movement, but the ref is saying he's counting him. He's just about giving him a moment there. Like, he's moving, but he's not really controlled. So he is counting him down. And that'll be the end of the fight. The win goes to Dennis with Metroid. One solid hit there was enough to destroy this robot to the point where it was unable to continue. Sometimes it goes 3 minutes, sometimes it goes 30 seconds. In this case, thankfully for Dennis, it was the latter. So here we are. Both of our competitors are getting loaded up now. Jonathan in the red corner with Pushy Wishy. You can see that black robot there with the big titanium wedge on the front. It is got curled around on the sides and hinged in the center, so really good at bouncing into its opponents. And so far, his best tactic with it has been to ram into his opponent and throw them over the edge. Yeah. And Andrea with Speed Wedge 1 over in the blue corner there. That also has wedges on the front, little wedge-like fingers. Very hard, hinged as well, and they've got hooks on the top, which makes them capable of grabbing onto the opponent as it goes over top. And instead of it just flying over top, it actually manages to push it across the arena quite effectively. And you will see, even as she's testing it out there, that it is very fast to react, very nimble. Uh-oh. And she's been very good at driving it so far. It looks like Jonathan having a little bit of electrical issues here, just trying to get transmitters figured out. It's wiggling around over in the corner. These robots are both custom built, which, oh, there it goes. Now it's working. It just took a moment to pick up a signal by the looks of it. Both of these robots custom built. Our more veteran drivers do tend to do that, and can result in some very interesting designs. Looks like they might have a loose wire or something in Pushy Wishy here. It works for a moment and then it doesn't. Good enough? All right. What else can we do? It has come down to the time, so he'll have to do with what he's got available. Hopefully he'll still be able to sneak the win again here against Andrea. Andrea. When you're ready. All right, everybody's ready. We will begin in 3, 2, 1, fight. Oh, Pushy Wishy, look at this thing. It is so jittery and very quickly getting underneath Speed Wedge 1, flipping it upside down. You can see that gigantic magnet exposed there. Without that magnet, she is a much less powerful pushing robot. And Pushy Wishy almost managed to push her over that side. What he's really hoping to do, you can see here, oh, ramming into the red hazard. He really wants to get her against that side push out, the one that's actually closed, because he can ramp her right over the wedge. He's done very well at it so far. And man, Speed Wedge, both of these things, very fast, very nimble. Speed Wedge 1, look at this thing go. But surprisingly, he is going completely over top of those hooks on her wedgelets, which is actually one of the major sticking points for her. So unfortunately, that's not going to work so well for her perhaps in this fight, but she does manage to pin Pushy Wishy up against the wall for a moment. Important for showing control in case this goes to a judge's decision later. Both of them flying around the arena. Speed Wedge 1 getting underneath Pushy Wishy, getting up against the red side push out. And now up on its wheel. Uh-oh, and
You're allowed to move around if you need to.
looks like some more radio issues here for Jonathan as he's a little bit stuck over by the blue hazard. He's got 10 seconds to get it going again, but it's not functioning properly. Andrea's coming over and giving him a push, or trying to anyway. She does want to give him a chance because not exactly sure what's wrong here with the electronics, but things are not working out so well for him. He did have some issues starting off, but yeah, it is now not wanting to respond at all, unfortunately. Minute and a half still to go here. Keep hitting. He says he's trying to reset his radio here. Andrea being very kind to a friend here, trying to give him a chance to get moving again because does want this to be a very interesting fight. But unfortunately, it looks like radio is just not working here on Pushy Wishy at all, no matter how many bumps we give it. Andrea trying to push into it here at Speed Wedge 1, but she's upside down as well, which means she doesn't really have the pushing power she would normally need to clear him out of the arena or anything. You can tap out if you like. You just have to hit the button over here. Oh, yeah, and he has decided it is definitely not happening. Unfortunately, Jonathan dead in the water there, so the win will go to Andrea with Speed Wedge 1. Hard luck loss there for Jonathan. His robot's been very effective throughout these matches, but unfortunately just not functioning for him at the moment.
Okay, close enough. It's mostly plastic.
Matthew loaded up in the blue corner there with steamed hams. You can see it now has a green body on it instead of the previous beige colored one, because that one got absolutely wrecked in its previous fight, which is why it is now on the B side here. One good hard hit cracked the whole thing and left him unable to drive as he was high-sided. Still a very powerful spinner on there though, and now with a new 3D printed body strapped on, hopefully he'll be good to go. And Andrea in the red corner there with Speed Wedge 1. This thing throughout the match has been a very fast, capable robot, extremely maneuverable. You can see the two hinged wedges on the front there that have hooks on the top, capable of capturing the opponent as it runs up on top. Not sure how well that's going to work against the drum spinner in this steamed hams, but nonetheless helpful.
Sometimes I am.
Brian quickly trying to get the electronics working. Once again, this does sometimes tend to be a little bit of an issue. Or maybe slightly dragging on the ground even, it would seem. Brian definitely had to rush to try and get this robot together because after the big last hit, he's had to do quite a lot of work to replace, basically swap everything into a new body. A large amount of work. There we go. Okay, unfortunately, Steamed Ham's having drive trouble. It's kind of dragging on the ground. Unfortunately, we don't have time to delay him. He's going to have to go with what he's got. So he's going to have to try and drive it upside down to start with. At least that way it's maneuverable. This is not a good position for him, but you know, this might just get him through into the next round. It is possible. Both drivers are ready. We will begin in 3, 2, 1, fight. Speed Wedge 1 coming in here quickly, wants to try and get Steamed Hams on the right side, now the wrong side. Uh-oh, just like that. It is able to move, but not very well, but Speed Wedge 1 not too concerned about that, going to keep ramping into its opponent. Probably wants to be able to flip it over the wall, which he can do with that very fast-driving robot. Both push out close as he pins Steamed Hams into the corner by the blue hazard, and another fast one underneath, a chunk of something coming off of one of the robots. I think maybe a little bit of the plastic on Speed Wedge 1. Not a concern, though, as this robot's still going very fast, getting underneath Steamed Hams again, putting him into the wall, and a big chunk of the side has come off. Oh no, that weapon is completely disabled. The weapon support completely missing. I don't know if that's made it any more drivable, but it certainly made it a lot less dangerous as it falls silent as Speed Wedge 1 is banging it into the wall again and again. Without the side, oh, and now the other half has come out. The entire drum loose, held in only by the belt that was driving it. And another hard hit as Speed Wedge 1 puts it in the red corner. Hitting it again and going, sorry I have to do this, but you know, I kind of want to win. Hitting it again into the corner, the drum completely loose now. This green box flying around the arena, nothing left to it but plastic and motors. It is able to drive, sort of, but not a lot that it can do against Speed Wedge 1. Smashing it now into the red corner. It's unable to move. He is tapping out. The win goes to Andrea with Speed Wedge 1. Winner of the B-side final, moving up to the A-side. Well done. Very unfortunate for Brian there. This was a very competitive robot early on, but this is one of the problems with 3D printed plastics. They're not that sturdy. They do have a tendency to come apart. All right, so Metroid coming into the red corner here. He is coming in from the A side, so he just needs 1 win. Andrea coming up from the B side with Speed Wedge 1, so she will need 2 wins in a row here in order to crown the title. Dennis trying to make sure there's no loose bits and bobs out there, because with his very low, fast spinning weapon on there, even just a small screw getting caught in there can really screw things up. Gosh, that terrible pun wasn't even intended. It's been a long ways to get here. Metroid on the A side in the red corner, driven by Dennis. Speed Wedge 1 in the blue corner, driven by Andrea. He needs 1, she needs 2. Either one could win our Antweight finals.
We're missing a judge. Where's our other judge? Who are we missing? Ethan?
Can we get Albert, maybe?
David? Okay. Everybody's ready? This is Metroid, Speed Wedge 1.
We are ready to go in 3, 2, 1, fight. Metroid spinning up and coming in fast. Speed Wedge 1 centers and gets ready to counter a big hit off this weapon. He goes over the top and takes off a chunk of foam, but then ramming himself into the wall, putting a nice nick into it. And And Speed Wedge 1 putting him on end against the wall. More chunks off of that inner wall. That thing on the front of Metroid, very dangerous. He's now, I think he's still right-sided. Yeah, he is still right-sided. Hitting into the side of Speed Wedge 1, a nice gash into the side, and again, chipping away at the plastic body on the sides. Definitely the thing he wants to hit. Wants no part of the steel forks on the front. And look at this, very, very fast driving. He keeps coming around the side, turning in at the last moment. Very effective. That last hit, something didn't sound quite right. Everything's still holding together in there. Metroid gets hit hard from the side by Speed Wedge 1, ramming him into the air. It's actually quite impressive for this very fast pusher because Speed Wedge 1 is ramping Metroid into the air about as hard as Metroid is ramping Speed Wedge into the air. But through very different mechanisms. Metroid bouncing into the blue hazard. Unfortunately, putting himself upside down, not quite where he wants to be. Andrea taking advantage of it, putting him hard into the wall. He's putting his weapon into the steel end of the arena. Lots of noise coming off of that. Andrea trying to line up a good push, especially towards the center where the walls are a little bit shorter. Tries and does hit the wall, but unfortunately, Metroid does not ramp up on the wedges. We'll have to give it another go. Metroid getting underneath the forks for a moment there, chipping again away at the foam wheels, which are slowly but surely disintegrating. Thankfully, they're still able to drive quite well, even with chunks missing. A minute 15 still to go in the fight. Metroid trying to come in there, ends up ramping up on top of Speed Wedge 1. Oh, are they stuck? He's kind of holding the wheels. There we go. He's able to get out from underneath him there, but does take a little bit more damage to the wheels because of that big spinning drum on top. Oh, a good hard hit there, and Metroid going flipping up against the wall, but not quite over. Andrew doing a great job of pushing him around. Big nut there. Is that coming off again? Oh, that was from the previous robot. That's still the one from Utopia, I think. Another hard hit from behind there by Speed Wedge, putting Metroid into the wall. His one wheel guard starting to come loose, if I saw there correctly. Yeah, it's wobbling around. The screw has come out the back of it, but it's still holding. 30 seconds still to go. Another hard hit by Andrea up against the wall. Look at this. That Speed Wedge is so fast and capable of really pushing Metroid around. Metroid really wants to use the weapon and just hit a couple of times really hard, send her into the air, but unfortunately not able to land a good hit. As Andrea nimbly being able to get out of the way. Metroid now dangerously in front of that side. Push out, 10 seconds still to go, ramping into the forks, but over again. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Time is up. That's the end of the fight. My goodness. Woo. Dennis and Andrea going to a judge's decision. That was well driven on both sides. Not normally how fights go for Metroid, as Speed Wedge 1 just constantly able to get around and behind and ramming into Metroid, launching him against the walls. Of course, that big spinning weapon on Metroid also still quite capable of putting some dents and dings into Speed Wedge, but never actually disabling it. 3 judges going to a judge's decision with 3 categories: damage, aggression, and control. They will have to decide the victor of this fight and whether or not Andrea gets another chance or whether Dennis takes this one away. Judges looking forlorn, not an easy decision. It's unanimous. The win goes to Speed Wedge. Congratulations to Andrea for winning the first of 2 fights. Yeah. So they're going to get 20 minutes to try and fix things up and come back again for another round. All right, so we are going to do the second fight of the Antweight finals here with Speed Wedge 1 versus Metroid. Andrea managed to survive a win in the first half of this. So now either one, sudden death, whoever managed to win this fight will be crowned the Antweight champion. It's going to take a moment, I think, to clean up the arena. Not only is there a lot of debris, but there's also a lot of big gouges, which we're going to want to clean up momentarily. Some burrs sticking up. That does happen from our steel floor with all these big, huge, hard-hitting robots in here. This is also why we appreciate the help from our sponsors, because this does cause damage. We do have to fix this thing. It is not cheap. So thank you to our sponsors: Big Blue Saw, Robot Marketplace, Polulu Robotics and Electronics, Actobotics, FingerTech Robotics, WD Plastics. WD Plastics, by the way, has supplied us with these beautiful polycarbonate panels that you see all the way around. Saskatoon TechWorks, Equal Zero Design, and Prairie Land Park and Saskatchewan Entertainment Expo, who have us here today. If you would also like to be a sponsor, whether privately or as a corporation, we would appreciate it. We can get your name up here, shout it out over the speakers, send it all over the internet. We appreciate everything we can get from our sponsors. It helps us to put on these shows for you here today. By the way, once these are all over, if you want to come talk to the competitors, they're a friendly bunch. They don't bite nearly as badly as their robots. We can ask them all about what it's like to be a competitor, how to get started, and perhaps get some tips for your first robot. Okay. Andrea closing up the push-outs on her side. Speed Wedge 1 she's hoping to be able to use to push her opponents over. Oh, the pin's missing. Was the other one in? All right, that'll have to do. More damage to the arena. This time we're missing a pin on that side. The red side also missing a pin largely because of an attack from one of the robots that has completely broken part of that door. That is how nasty these things can be. Yeah. Yeah. If you like what you see today, we also respect private donations. You can come throw us a little bit of cash, help us to pay for, some more push-outs, that sort of thing. We appreciate the help.
You can put their name on the website.
Metroid in the red corner. It's being set up here by Dennis. Big vertical spinner against Andrea's Speed Wedge 1 in the blue corner with those two steel wedges with the hooks on top. A very fast and nimble robot that can run into and launch its opponent. A very close match in the previous round for these ones. One more win decides the winner. Either one could be crowned the Antweight champion for this 2018 Canadian National Championships.
I lost my 4S battery that last match, so I'm on 3S.
Oh. When you're ready? We are ready to begin in 3, 2, 1, fight! And Metroid getting up to speed quickly. Speed Wedge 1 getting around the side, flipping him into the blue hazard and then towards the blue push-out. Little chunk of plastic coming off the Speed Wedge from that hard-hitting spinner on Metroid, Metroid there, as she directs him towards the blue push-out, which is closed, not quite able to hit him against it, going ramping over the weapon. Speed Wedge 1 now upside down, not quite as good of a pusher there, but still actually quite capable despite that. Oh, geez, a big bounce. First from the weapon of Metroid, then off the red hazard towards the blue push-out, but bouncing off the wall. Both of them upside down right now, not quite as effective, but don't want to give the other one a chance as Metroid gets flipped back up, right side up now, running underneath Speed Wedge 1. Speed Wedge trying to keep the forks pointed the right direction. There you go, once again using that to tank the blows off of that big spinning drum. 2 minutes and 10 seconds still to go. She now gets flipped over by a light slide hit by Metroid, gets underneath him, pushes him toward the wall, holding him there for up to 10 seconds. Try and show some control in case this may, in fact, go to a judge's decision. Oh, a hard hit by Metroid into the forks of Speed Wedge 1. No damage, but definitely hurts nonetheless, as she gets underneath Metroid again. Metroid into the side of the forks, causing some sparks. And again, this time flipping her upside down. Oh no, not the best possession for her, as she ends up riding around on top of the drum, getting tossed in the air a couple of times here. A minute and a half. Oh my goodness! A big bounce over the side. Metroid is the winner. Congratulations, Dennis. Wow. The chaos of the vertical spinners. That is what it takes sometimes, is just one big hit to get a win in there.
If you have program ideas that you'd like to see on maxTV Local On Demand, write us at max.local@sasktel.com.